CBS political correspondent Ed O'Keefe interviewed Bernie Sanders on Medicare-For-All. Now, I watched the entire 20-minute interview. I'll link to it below the video if you want to watch it on the CBS website. But there was one part of this interview that I want to show you because it's a perfect example of how the mainstream press, just regardless of the facts, continues to push certain narratives, even though there is no evidence or data or any reality to back up the kinds of questions they're asking. So watch this.
You know, the president has now said that he wants his party to be the party of health care.
I know.
Have you considered doing some version of this that you know would get some semblance of Republican support?
Well, right now, look, let's be clear. The president wants his party to be the party of health care. Unfortunately, apparently, what he means by that is throwing 32 million Americans off of the health insurance they have.
But isn't that what your plan would do, too? Because you'd be moving them into Medicare-For-All? I mean, if they have insurance right now...
Wait a minute, wait a second. President's plan and what he has supported throws 32 million people off of health care. No alternative. We provide health care to every man, woman, and child in this country. I think maybe slightly different concepts. We guarantee health care to all. He throws 32 million off of health care.
Off of the
slightly
Affordable Care
different.
Act.
Off of the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah.
And they have no alternative. Probably in the recesses of their minds, their alternative is junk insurance, which means we're going to give you a head. We got a deal for you, man. We're going to give you really, really cheap insurance. Really a bargain. Oh, by the way, there's a huge deductible. There's a huge copayment, and it doesn't cover very much. But you know what? It's cheap. That's not the health care that we need.
All right. I mean, Ed O'Keefe, if you happen to be watching this video, this makes you look really stupid. This does not make you look like a good journalist. Oh, he's playing both sides. He's just being neutral. I mean, he's asking Bernie Sanders, doesn't your plan throw people off all their health care too? No. Ed, this makes you look dumb. So journalists need to really stop doing this because I don't know what it's supposed to accomplish here. I mean, sure, you could say he's playing devil's advocate, but I mean, if you're going to play devil's advocate, use an actual argument. The idea that Bernie is trying to throw everybody off healthcare with his Medicare-For-All plan is just, it doesn't make any sense. Medicare-For-All, first of all, the way his plan works out, Bernie's plan works out, it lowers the age. So it doesn't happen all at once. It gradually happens. And when that occurs, it's just the same thing as when you get to 65 and you have Medicare-For-All, or you have Medicare. Except in this case, you get to 55 and now you have Medicare. And when the age lowers even further, you get to 40 and you have Medicare. That's how it works out. There is no instance where you are left without health care whatsoever. That's not going to happen. There's not going to be any situation where you don't have private insurance and you don't have Medicare-For-All because Bernie's implementing his Medicare-For-All plan. Oh, now you're all screwed for a year with no health care anywhere. This is so dumb. So I do not understand the point of journalists pushing this when it just doesn't make, on the face of it, it makes absolutely no sense. Comparing Bernie's Medicare-For-All plan to Republicans who want to throw everybody off health care. How is that the same thing? And another part of this clip that I should also point out is actually before that question where he says, well, are you going to, do something about trying to get Republicans on board with this? Dude, the Republican Party, the reason why they don't support Medicare-For-All is because of the insurance industry and Big Pharma. I mean, that's how politics works. It's the donors. Why are we playing this game? Why are we pretending? Oh, you got to reach across the aisle. You got to have a beer with them. You just got to, if you use the right argument, you just come to their level. Just cut down a little bit on what you want to do with Medicare, and just all you have to do is present a plan for healthcare that they're going to support. They're not going to support anything. This is the Republican Party that is owned by their donors. Now, look, both parties are owned by their donors, but the Republican Party more so owned by their donors. So this idea, again, that the Republicans are going to work with Bernie on anything is absurd, which is why every time Bernie has a rally, he talks about how he cannot do this alone. This is about building a movement of people to get this done. It requires, look, if Bernie happens to become president, if he actually wins, It's going to require a movement of people to continue protesting, pushing the government to enact these sorts of policies. That's why he's talking about this every time he has a rally. He will not be able to do this alone. The American people have to be in the streets protesting, have to make noise. That is the only way that you can potentially push DC to be able to actually pass some of these bigger ideas. So I just don't. I mean, at this point, it feels like they're just desperate for an argument against Medicare for all. I've discussed this many times. I, as a Canadian, have healthcare, have always had healthcare. The idea that you have a system where there's a profit-making middleman is just insane. There is no defense of it. When you have all these other countries having a universal healthcare system, how can you possibly defend the American system? There is just no defense of it. So stop at these bullshit arguments. Just come back to reality, use actual facts, and discuss these issues on some sort of reality-based plane. Because right now, the way that the media is discussing it is just, honestly, it's bad faith, and it largely, their arguments just don't make any sense.